fix this so maybe you can see while I also use the microphone.
Yeah. We're just getting ready to do our podcast.
Yeah.
And if you miss our podcast on our lives, you can watch it, rewatch it, or
And with better sound quality.
better sound quality, you can go to like Apple Podcasts, all that other things that podcasts can be listened to.
And we would appreciate if you left a review on there.
Yeah.
What you got?
Yes.
Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday. No, we're doing Wednesday. We usually do this on a Tuesday.
Well, we waited for
Right,
because
yeah.
we watched
D&D.
D&D last night and that thingy. Mandalorian.
Correct.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Make our power light. What's up, everybody? It's John.
And Gavin.
Well, let's open it. This is podcast episode 17.
Yes, today we've got a full slate, but first, before we get into all of that, let's give a big shout out to our founder level sponsor over on Patreon, the Kingdom Cards and Games. If you're ever in Kokomo, Indiana, or if you do not live in Kokomo, Indiana, hit them up on Facebook or hit them up at their email, kingdomwishlist@yahoo.com, and get whatever sweet products that you need for your nerd things.
Nerd things. And if you like what you're listening to and you want to support us, you can also go to Patreon and become a Ginger Brute. So become the Ginger Brute Nation.
Yes,
It's only $1.
Ginger Brute.
It's only $1.
We still got to work on releasing that so everybody can have it. I don't know how we can go about doing that, but it would be cool.
We'll just record a new soundbite.
No, because that one's good.
That is good. Well, we have better professional equipment now.
Yeah, but GarageBand's professional-ish.
That's exactly what we're recording on right now.
Basically. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, first things first, a little different topic before we delve into the wide world of magic. Lorcana.
So new news?
A little bit. So, apparently it's going to be direct-to-consumer, as well as local game stores are going to have access to it. So they're kind of Wizard of the Coasting it a little bit, where they're going to, have product that you can just buy from the Disney store, and then as well as product that, local game stores will have.
I mean, it makes sense because they have their own distribution.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I wonder if it's going to be cheap, like...
Oh, it sounds like there'll be a discount if you buy it through the Disney store, and it will be more expensive to support local on that particular product. I was just in the local game store page on Facebook, and I kind of saw some chatting heads about that. That game releases on August 18th of this year, I believe. So yeah, it's coming up. Just a couple more months.
I might have to buy a booster box, keep it sealed.
Yeah. That'll be a fun little... I don't know, we'll see what happens with it.
In 20 years, if it's still around, then that'll be worth...
$1 bajillion.
Millions of dollars. No, just kidding.
Maybe not. Well, maybe millions by then if inflation just keeps getting as bad as it is.
True.
But yeah, so just a little Lorcana news, because we kind of talked about it here and there. It would be something that we definitely follow into the future. So if you are a speculator, that would be one to, we got the spare, whatever, $80, $100, whatever the heck a box of that's going to cost. Throw it at that.
Or it'll end up in a landfill.
That's been a thing.
Yeah.
That was some points that these game store owners were making. They're like, well, people actually want this product, so we're not sure it'll end up in a landfill, unlike, the Magic and the Funko Pops.
I don't know. Well, I read an article, a lot of the Funko Pops that were thrown away was from that Funko Pop game.
Oh, yeah, into the Funkoverse or whatever.
A lot of those things got tossed.
Yeah, I've never played it. I've heard it's okay.
Yeah. It's just...
It is a gimmick.
Funko Pops, I think, it's already hit its peak.
Yeah, for sure.
For Funko Pops. I still will buy one here and there if it's like a cool, like, just character. I don't, like, collect them, but it's like, oh, I like that character. Sure. I don't go, like, crazy and try to hunt
And
them.
usually because they're just so overproduced, you can get them cheap.
Yeah. Just go somewhere and just get it. Or a local game store or toy store here in Kokomo has a ton of them.
But they sell them at like hardcore secondary market prices.
Yes, they do. Well, not the new ones. The new ones they kind of release at
Sure.
the same prices.
Right,
Yeah.
old action figures.
Yeah.
Oh man, so mom spoilers. Big thing with the mom spoilers is when they first started showing them, and of course we're talking about March of the Machines, Magic the Gathering.
March
Uh,
Madness.
yeah, it's March Madness, Multiverse of Madness, Mom, March of the Machines, whatever you want to call it. But the actual set, March of the Machines. So we saw some very prominent Magic characters Phyrexianized, one of them being Heliod,
Yes.
and it was a double face card, and it was like, oh, what's on the other side of Heliod? And it turns out, battles, new card type.
Yeah, battles. I did see a little article. I didn't read it.
It seems like it's not really going to be good and competitive, but it's going to be real fun for Commander. And that's exactly kind of like what sagas are.
Yeah.
Not good and competitive, but hey, you slap some of those in a Commander deck that can do some shenanigans with counters, then there you go.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that mechanic a lot. So when you play the battle, your job is to attack it. You assign an opponent to defend it, and they get to defend it. I assume you get to block if somebody's attacking the siege. But yeah, so that's kind of, I don't know, neat. And if you destroy it, you get a benefit. Very, kind of typical Magic thing.
Yeah. I think it's
And in Commander, that'll be neat too.
Yeah, it will be. I think
draw like a line because you're like, who's gonna defend it?
Yeah. So you play it and then you attack it.
Yes.
So you pick one of your opponents to defend
right,
it.
because you want it flipped, and that's how it flips. Because it's got like almost like loyalty counters on Planeswalkers. There's a little number in the bottom right of the thing, and then once that ticks down, then you get to.
Okay.
But they're not really loyalty counters, and I don't think any of them have ways to put more of them on. It might be like a toughness value. I don't know exactly. Again, I don't know exactly how they work. I just know you got to get the number to 0, whether that is dealing lethal damage to it or it ticks down and is like a counter thing, and do that. Let's see. In some the story bit, Planeswalkers that we thought were not fine are fine, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like Nahiri. Like, Nahiri has hands, and I thought she got her hands cut off by, like, the Phyrexians or somebody else or something.
They put them back on.
I don't know. Well, but she's not a Phyrexian.
Oh, I don't know.
I guess she could have, like, Anakin and Luke Skywalkered her some, like, stone hands because she's a lithomancer. That would be kind of neat if that's what it was. I think, who else was with her? It was not Sorin for sure because they don't like each other. Maybe Teferi and Sarkhan? I was like, Sarkhan! And he's, like, looking ripped now. He's got kind of like a hipstery hairdo, of course, and then now he's, like, ripped and got some gray hair. So I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it seems like everything's just going to be fine.
So I just
Which is, like...
Before the show, I took a little peek about where the pricing of the new cards are at.
Mm-hmm.
Not as high as Phyrexia All-Be-One.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, because, like, so they're making these new Praetors, but most of them are only okay.
Yeah.
They're definitely not as good as, like, the last cycle they did.
Yeah. The biggest one is the Ren and Hardship or whatever. Ren and Hard World or Hard... I forget what it is. Which seems real good.
One of the coolest things to me, especially if you're a Commander player, is those tag team cards. I just lost it when I saw the Fibblethip and Borborygmos one. So, like, they did get to Ravnica, which hurts my heart, because I love Ravnica. But the Fibblethip and Borborygmos, like, that's so funny. They're both Cyclopses, but one's just, itty-bitty, and then Borborygmos is big. Because Fibblethip is a homunculus. But they both only have one eye. And Fibblethip's, like, standing on Borborygmos' head, and they're, like, riding into battle together.
Very cool.
And then there's, like... Thalia and the Gitrog monster. That was sick.
Yeah, isn't like big monsters are supposed to, big riding creatures are like a thing.
Well, yeah, because they're like taking the war to the Phyrexians, The entire multiverse is standing up. So we're seeing characters who were previously their own.
After this, is this when Teferi is going to be like, time shenanigans?
Probably. Well, I thought they already tried it and it didn't work, but it's probably going to end up being the case, or they're gonna win somehow. It's very clear because you have Elspeth. By the way, Elspeth's back, and
Mm-hmm.
she's an angel now,
Yeah.
which is awesome. That is rad as hell. Her story has been so cool. You know what? Even if the overarching magic story has been pretty garbage, the story of Elspeth since like 2014 has been sick as hell.
There you go.
Because she was like Heliod's champion, then oh no, Heliod's a dickbag. We gotta kill this new god, Xenagos. She kills him with the godsend, then is like, fuck you, Heliod. And then gets out of there. And then she comes back and she's banished to the underworld. She dies. Oh no. And then she comes back, and then she had a little Romeo Juliet thing with Daxos. And Daxos went to the underworld, and then he was a gold masky guy for a little bit. I'm trying to remember what those are called. Reforged? Whatever. They have a name. I don't remember it. I need to brush back up on my Theros lore. But then Daxos comes back, and now he's blessed by the sun, so he's like one with Heliod, which is kind of twisted. And then, but Elspeth's gone, and she's dead. So he's like, no, returned. That's what those are called with the gold masks. And now she's an angel. And that's sick nasty.
If you guys saw
so cool.
the little cinematic trailer they had for them.
Well, and then there's just a straight up like common or uncommon that spoils what happens right after the trailer cuts off. Yeah, she cuts Elishnorn's head off.
Yeah.
Like just straight up. Cha! There's a card with Elspeth just hoisting Elishnorn's head up.
No, it was Karn.
Oh, it was Karn. You're not wrong. So maybe Karn delivers the final blow, or maybe Karn's just reveling in it, like, I finally got you.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
So then, let's see. John and I have recently built new commander decks.
Yes, we did. We had this $30 challenge. I succeeded.
I also did, because John...
TCG low.
Yes, our challenge was build a commander deck for $30, not including the price of the commander, by TCG low pricing.
Mm-hmm.
John just went out and found the first deck list that he could that was pre-made that was $30.
Yeah, $30. That's
and that was not the challenge. The challenge was not to spend $30. The challenge was to make a list.
I made it harder.
The challenge was to make a list for $30 on TCG low pricing. That way we could irk some decent cards in there.
No, I found a $30 deck.
It plays like a $30 deck.
And it plays like a $30 deck. It plays like trash. The commander costs $6 to play. It's too slow.
Which is surprising. He built Tribal Knights. And I think that's like good. Like you could have a good Tribal Knights deck, but I just don't know what it's missing. It always feels like you don't have enough Knights early enough.
Yeah. Well, it feels like whenever I draw the Knights, they're high-costing Knights.
Yeah, so you need to get some of the lower-costing Knights in, and then I feel like your game would just really change around. And I don't think those are expensive, either.
No.
That's what I don't understand.
Well, I got a whole box of Throne of Eldraine. A lot of these Knights came from Throne of Eldraine.
Right.
So I can just throw in a bunch of just...
Well, and some of them are going to be the rare ones, like I said, like your Lochthwain Champion or whatever, and... or Lochthwain Paladin.
But this guy, he built a deck using
Yes. Lathiel, the Boundless
Lathiel.
Dawn. And I spent
50 cents.
I spent $75 on it. So like yeah, I'm like double plus the budget.
So I won. People listening on YouTube, you can tell us who won. John spent $30 on a $30 challenge.
But if you look at the TCG low on my deck, it is $30. So if all of the cards I purchased were in damaged condition, I would have spent $30 on it.
So,
all of them, all of the Commander Precons, because they have new Plane Chase cards.
Oh yeah, that's right. I pre-ordered the one that's like mostly Phyrexians.
But
I forget what it's called.
So if I think I have this correctly, I asked Jason this question a while ago. I don't know if I do, but I think all of the Commander decks are going to have the same 5 returning and 5 new Plane Chase cards. In which case, I will have to be buying a Commander Precon for the first time in like years. The last time I bought a Commander Precon was 2017. I bought the Dragons one, and I recently sold that for a lot of money.
So, going back to
Yes.
your commander that you made.
Lathiel the Boundless Dawn. Lathiel says, at the beginning of each end step, distribute a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the amount of life you gained this turn to other creatures you control, or some variation therein. Long and short, get +1/+1 counters equal to the life you gained, and Lathiel cannot have them because it says other creatures. And Lathiel is a 2/2 with lifelink unicorn. Which is, like, I just thought it was cool. I liked the effect.
Yeah, it was good. It's
and
a 50
then
cent.
when push came to shove, I bought all my cards from Star City Games, because if I usually have a big list like that,
Except for your commander, which I gave you.
yes, John did give me a sweet etch foil version from Commander Legends.
Because I felt like every time we opened up one of those
We got one.
We got one.
We definitely had opened so many of that Lathiel. So I got that. But the deck's just gross.
It is.
And it's like, it could be so much better if you poured an extra $100 into it.
It would be a very... Because, like, we played 3 games, my Knights versus him, and he was just like, I gained 30 life this turn. I'm going to put 30 +1/+1 counters on everything. And I got my, like, 2/3 Knight. And I'm like, cool. Scoop.
He has flying now.
Yeah. Yeah, like, but, you know, I got my ass handed to me 3 games in a row. And I thoroughly enjoy his deck. I kind of want to build one just like it. Because
it's cool.
It's fun. It just seems fun, and you can just, like, pump up your other cards. Like, he had a Land War Elf that was like a 30/30.
Yeah.
You know,
and, like, that's the thing. I have, like, one really good creature in there that is, like, I put a Baneslayer Angel in, because that was in the budget at the TCG low. Or they didn't have a card, because it was on my, like, big master list of potential cards, so the maybe board, and then, like, they didn't have some other cards, so I was kind of doing the budget in my head, and then I was like, okay, so now we can afford the Baneslayer Angel, and they do have one, so I got the Baneslayer Angel, and that's just 5/5 flying, first strike, protection from dragons and demons, and so yeah, you know, it's pretty good. Tiamat decks. Tiamat. Let's see. I wanted Tiamat to be good because I put it in my 5-color dragons deck for a little bit, but it's real hard just because it's just tutoring dragons. So if you want to do Tiamat well, make 2 of the dragons that you're tutoring combo with one another, and that's what you're gonna want to do. So, like, you can have 3 tech dragons and then 2 dragons that do some kind of combo. There's lots of them. A big one to combo with Tiamat dragons is going to be the one that pulls them out of the graveyard. Cannot remember the card's name for the life of me right now. And then, like, a Velvet thing. Let's see. Let's try to scroll over to the deck list real quick.
But while he's looking that up, so we did the $30 challenge. Our next challenge is we're going to write a bunch of themes down.
Yeah.
And draw them from a hat, and then we have to build it from that way. And this time, when I pull the theme, I'm going to do research, and I'm going to build this deck.
Yes.
Like, the first one,
I definitely think you would have liked your $30 Knights better if you would have picked what cards in it.
I went online, I'm like, wow, $30 Knight deck. Put it all in the Star City Games. They had all but 4 cards, and I just said, purchase. And with shipping, it was like $34. And that was kind of awesome. And I felt sorry for the guy because this guy had to go pull 94 cards for $30.
Oh, yeah. And, okay, so Scourge of Valkis is definitely one of them. That does does damage when dragons enter the battlefield. Mirim, because that card is just the new hotness if you're into dragons and ED Ancient. Bladewing the Risen. So there's a way that you can recur Bladewing the Risen, basically, by making 2 of the Bladewings with the Mirim, and then, or no, there's another way that you get 2 Bladewings, and you sacrifice the one, and it constantly loops itself. And you just keep going, basically. and then you're doing a damage because the new Blade Wing is out. You sacrifice the original Blade Wing, the other Blade Wing triggers, bringing that Blade Wing back, and then you rinse repeat. So that would be one thing I would want to look for if you're trying to do a good Tiamat deck. Put a couple combos with the dragons in. Because most people, if you're thinking a dragon deck, you're just thinking beatdown, but dragons is combo city. I play Scion of the Ur-Dragon, and I have shoved as many possible combos in that deck as possible.
Yeah, it's pretty,
and it plays well.
nasty.
Yeah, so it plays well. It took a lot of dollars and a lot of practice to get it to that point, and there's still combos that I know I have in there that I'm not as refined with, so I don't go to those ones as much. And one of them is that Blade Wing trick. I have that in there. Now Scion's got the advantage of he is the tutor for whatever half of a combo you need if you're using dragons to combo. Stuff like World Gorger Dragon. But yeah, so I think the key to a good Tiamat deck is the supporting dragons or having a good combo that you can tutor up as well. Like a Mirim, because that will just double up on all of your legendary dragons. And that is real, real good.
But, I mean, going back to... So the 3 games I lost.
So, real quick. If you have themes that you would like to see John and I build a deck for, leave them in the comments. Or send us a message with them.
And then we'll try to film it. Or
we'll do deck techs at least.
Yeah. Because I wanted... So, he handed my ass to me 3 times. But then we played again at the Kingdom. Multiplayer. And
I've never won a multiplayer game with that deck so far. Every time I've won it is just 1v1.
And my triggers deck, I'm going to have to do a deck tech on my triggers deck because it's fun. My Child of Alara put in the work.
It did. And that's the great equalizer in Commander. That's one of the reasons why Life Gain Commander is usually not, still not that good. Is you got the Commander damage.
Yeah.
That is the great equalizer. It only takes a couple hits with a decent commander to
Space Baby is 6/6 with trample.
Yep, and that gets through. It doesn't work.
People don't want to
you don't want to kill it.
You don't want to kill it because it destroys all non-land permanents.
Right.
So it's kind of
you got to give and take a little bit. You got to play with the fire.
Yeah.
Play with the nuclear Space Baby.
But I was trying to... But he has a way... What is it? Fertilid?
Oh, Fertilid.
Fertilid. That he just kept
dumping
lands on. And I'm like, please, where's my obliterate? Where is my obliterate?
Right, yeah. Because I put 10 lands on the battlefield with this Fertilid. And knowing well that I'm playing against the land destruction deck, I was like, okay, whatever. But I had, after you killed the Fertilid the first time, I left it in my hand and for a while. And I had 4 lands. That way, after a board wipe, I was set up. I was like, I'll get the Fertilid back out, we'll get him going again, and it'll be fine.
That's why I was holding some artifacts in my hand.
Yeah.
For I played
that's what I really like about, I guess, our Commander recently, especially playing against your land destruction deck. I've gotten into the weeds on the metagame, I know he's gonna be holding a land destruction, so I'm gonna hold these lands. And then you're like, well, I know that he knows I'm gonna play a land destruction, so I'm gonna hold 2 of them. And that's
because I have 3 land destructions.
Big ones. Do you have Armageddon yet?
No.
Get an Armageddon. TCG Player, after we're done recording. It's $3.
Yeah.
Because you need that one. That's to destroy all lands for 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Obliterate costs a lot, but
you need to get a World Fire too.
When you see 2 mountains and 8 other lands on my board, and I'm smiling, and they all tap sideways, you know what's coming.
I'm sure there's got to be some kind of combo with World Fire where you can set it up to where something, not when it dies, because World Fire exiles, but when it leaves the battlefield, it does a damage. That way, everybody's life total can be 1. Your triggers go on the stack, and then you can just ping people out of the game.
Oh yeah.
Bing, bing, bing.
And in the other game we played, I locked down his commander in the very turn 2.
Yeah, and I had to play around it.
Yeah. Draenith Magistrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old. I don't understand why that card is still legal in the format.
Yeah, because it's like, whoops, can't play anything except from your hand.
But yeah, because like it doesn't. It hurts that deck for sure. Most of my other decks are pretty heavy commander build arounds. The only one it doesn't hurt too much is my Stacks deck. Because like I could play without the Grand Arbiter on the battlefield.
That's where my triggers deck is not.
It's uncaged from that problem that some commander decks have.
Yeah, like I can play the commander and I can smack face with it, or I'm just really there just to trigger everybody at the table.
Right.
And boy, does Blood Moon trigger. Especially when you're playing a 5-colored deck against a 5-colored deck that's all non-basic lands. And then you play Blood Moon and they're all mountains. And then you just rage scoop and then walk away from the table.
Oh man.
I love it.
Yeah, John cast the other day a Blood Moon into a choke. And that was just rough for the person who had mountain or islands at the table. Because like they had a command tower. They only had like 2 blue sources and then command tower. And so their blues were already tapped because they used them on their last turn, and then Blood Moon's just a mountain. Then Choke comes down, and now they have no more blue. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, but he had
the talisman, so we still had access to a blue.
But he also had what's it called? Stormy River Rooftop Storm.
Rooftop Storm, so he didn't really need to cast spells anymore either.
He was just like, hey, my zombies just do this.
Which was sick.
So yeah, I mean that's...
And he got there. He still won that game.
Yeah.
That's what was... See, I mean, I don't know. People will complain about the Stacks decks. And then, like, I was doing some stupid life gain shit. I was at, like, 75 or something. But we still lost the game. He went infinite. And I was like, great. To me, that's what keeps Commander interesting. Is sometimes you just have the I win the game button, and that's fine. Shuffle up, play another one.
Yep.
Like, that's why I am pro combos in Commander. As long as they're not the slow type of combos. Because, like, a time sieve combo, that shit's annoying. Because those take forever to assemble, and then forever to go off, because they literally have infinite turns.
I have a combo of my triggers deck. Crucible of Worlds and Strip Mine.
Well, you're going to have another one
Yep.
if you can find those cards that we just bought. The Pharaoh Pede and Kamos will.
Yeah, that's in that box that we put in the thing when we cleared off the table for Skyrim. But yeah, that's our Commander deal.
It's been shenanigans recently in the Commander world for us. Just pure shenanigans.
Yeah.
And then, let's move on to tabletop role-playing games. Spelljamming. Oh my goodness. So, we're on the Spelljammer, my D&D party and I, and we're going through, we got to go find this big asteroid on a place, because we were told to, basically, by our Spelljamming Academy. So we go, we retrieve the asteroid. On the way back, we encounter some dude riding like a purple horse, or whatever. I think it was a purple horse. Purple space horse.
Space Horse.
And he's like, hey, you guys have this person? And we're like, yeah, but what do you want with this person? And he's like, he's a traitor. We need him. He's going to die. And we're like, whoa. You don't just get to walk up in our ship and start accusing our crew members of crimes. But then he's like, well, I don't know. Has anything weird happened recently? Has anything exploded? And we're like, well, actually it did. As soon as we stepped foot on the ship, the oven kind of blew up for some reason. And a guy died, like another crew member. He was using the oven to go cook some dinner, and then just... and we're like, so we'll have to investigate that ourselves. But you don't get to just take this guy. He's ours. And he did not like the request. So he stepped aboard our vessel, which was a poor decision, because I, being a 10th level wizard, have used the Glyph of Warding on
I'm a level 6 wizard.
On many spaces on the ship. I made all of the crew immune to the Glyphs of Warding, And then this guy, he steps right into the immolation, which did enough damage to just kill him instantly. And then we just pushed him out into space. We're like, bye-bye. And then we get back, and we find out, oh, nope, this dude really is a traitor. And we got some information out of him. We do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of recon. We think we know kind of what's going on. Somebody is hiring these outside infiltrators to mess with the Spelljammer Academy. We know who it is because the staff, the higher-ups, the commanding officers know who it is, but they're not letting the underlings know because we're just cadets.
Yeah.
But I used invisibility to go sneak in and listen to their conversation. So
Nice.
now my party knows, and we're like, we got this.
Yeah.
No problems. No problems. On to board games. ISS Vanguard.
Yes.
Every time we play, I just feel like we're losing, but then we win.
Yeah. Barely.
Every time. It is like skin of our teeth.
So that's
almost dead.
That game is so good. I say it every episode. It's so good. But it's punishing. It is a very punishing game when you're actually... Not the ship management part.
Yeah, that part's fun.
That's the fun part.
I like that part. I like it better.
When you're on this planet, because you're exploring this, like, you're just thousands and millions of light years away from Earth, trying to find the builders. And it's like every planet wants to kill you.
Yep.
Like, it's like, we went... Like, there's no, like, oh, we came to, like, a planet like Earth and everything's fine and blah, 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 blah. No, it's like, we did go to a planet with lush vegetation.
Well, think about it. Even if you went to... Let's say you went to a planet like Earth, in any point in Earth's history, and you just walk around in the wild, there's shit that's going to want to kill you.
That's true.
Like, there is harmful...
But not a big, giant behemoth.
Okay, you're not wrong. There is no irrigator behemoth.
Oh, my God.
Which we found another one.
We found another one.
We found another one.
And
literally, our second combat, it's the same thing that almost killed us the first time. And I delivered the killing blow on it again. So I'm 2 for 2 against
We
these
were
things.
fighting 2 creatures.
Yes.
Because we had a tentacle monster, like a viney, like a plant. Audrey 2.
Yeah, it was like Audrey 2 showed up. And was like, feed me, Vanguard.
And what's so funny about this game is, like, when we were playing the tutorial or the first mission and stuff like that, it was like,
easy.
Man, this is a kind of easy game. We got all these success tokens. We're ranking up. We're doing all this stuff. And then now we're in missions. It's like, it is a grind to get those success tokens.
Yeah, because
just to rank up your guy.
Yeah, it was like the last couple games we didn't rank up. Because we missed either flipping the success card, or we didn't have enough tokens, and we had rank 2 guys, because it's real hard to get rank 2 people to rank 3. It takes 6 success tokens, which is like you have to travel to every space on the board, and that always takes some sort of resource expenditure in the form of dice. So basically, the way it works, if you have not caught up, is there's 3 colors of dice to think of like 3 stats, like mental, physical, and more physical, but dex.
Yeah.
Like health, dex, or strength, and whatever. 3 colors of dice, and they represent 3 kind of different traits. Some characters have more of other colors, and yeah.
Their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, they have strengths and weaknesses, and then there's one that's kind of balanced. So you spend dice to make checks to, like, succeed, to, like, okay, we need to find new discoveries, because that's what we're trying to do, is learn more. So we're going to gather minerals, or we're going to gather flora, we're going to gather fauna, we're going to gather alien technology to improve our technology. That all requires dice checks, and you have to succeed on those dice checks, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
And you spend dice to do that. The only way to get them back is resting.
And that's all the part of the gameplay. But you gotta land on this damn planet, too.
Yeah, that's the rough part.
And, like, so you get so many supplies on your ship, and that's Yes.
So that is, between us all, we can rest and get back half our dice. Half, not all. Half. 6 times.
But when you're landing, you're gonna, like, if it's like you gotta roll the danger die, and if you have a thing, you say, oh, you gotta expose the
cargo bay.
The cargo bay, lose 4 supplies, or it's like
lose half your equipment.
or lose half your equipment, or the other one's like lose 5 die.
Yeah.
Like, so you only have we have 8 dice, right? And it's like now you have a choice of losing dice or
before you set foot on the planet.
Yeah.
You have not had to roll dice for your character yet at all.
And you're going to lose more than half of them right off the bat. Or you're going to lose this. It's like, why? There hasn't been one landing that's like,
easy.
Everything's cool. There was that one landing that we were almost absolutely going to die.
Yeah, we dipped out at the last possible second. And then we just didn't do a landing that week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But the game is fun.
Oh man, the game is great.
The game is fun.
And I feel like we're getting close to something weird with the captain. Like, there's definitely some weird stuff with that guy. So
you think?
I think so. I think it's like a Wally situation where the captain's all, got some weird ulterior.
There's an envelope.
Yeah, it's like there is that crazy big envelope that's like, do not open this until directed.
Yeah.
And so who knows what's in there.
Well, we also learned that some of these planets we've been to, like giant monolithic spikes have grown out of the planet into the space, like big enough to where like one episode or one gameplay we had to climb one of these just to escape the planet to get picked up by a ship. They got found on Earth.
Yeah, and now we have this way to communicate with Earth pretty much in real time.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And that was like a neat story moment because the captain's like, I gave everybody on the crew of the Vanguard an hour to talk to their relatives and loved ones on
because Earth they're not coming back.
Yeah, they're not coming back. Like, they plan on it at some point, but by the time they get back to Earth, so much time will have passed.
Yeah.
If they ever do return to Earth, which we don't know. We don't. They might not. We might just all die.
Might all die. I don't know.
Or who knows what there is to find. That's what's, I think, really neat, is we get little bits of story here and there. Most of it is really just like, this is going on this planet, or like, we're discovering this thing, this is kind of weird.
When I was reading the manual, it says 150 hours of gameplay. Each session that we play takes 4 hours at least.
Yeah.
Well, that's ship management, actual exploring the planet, and then unloading and debriefing. So it takes, the gameplay in those things. So I think we're going to have, and the people we play with the
rules arguments,
and just like every single time, it's like every time we come across the same card, it's like, I don't understand it. And we got to pull out the rule book, and we're just like, oh my God. So,
and the rule book's not super clear on some things.
And it's...
So we're probably more like 300 hours.
300 hours in this game. But we'll keep you updated and see. The storytelling, still impressed with this game.
That was, I think, the biggest story thing, was we got this communicator with the Black Knight now, and they found one in Earth's orbit, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think those are like a communication array around the galaxy, around the universe.
Yep.
Like, that's kind of crazy.
All right. That's ISS Vanguard.
And then Skyrim, Dawnguard.
Yeah, so... Okay. We played Skyrim, the main game. We grinded through that and beat the game. Fun. We were playing the game as the tutorial taught us how to play. Okay?
I never once looked at the rules. I just let John teach me how to play.
Yeah. And that's and then the tutorial of the first mission is literally spelled out for you. Like, you're going to roll this. If you didn't roll this, change the result to this so you know how to do this.
Right.
So that's how we were doing things. Until we were like, we haven't played it in several months, so I bought the expansion, Dawnguard. So we're like, oh, we got to refresh on the rules. And we started reading the rules, and we're like, we've been doing this wrong the entire time.
Every single thing about combat was totally wrong.
Yeah.
I think in some instances it was harder, in some it was easier.
But
like, it's just different than how we were doing it.
Different, and then Gavin made a joke. He's like, it's 2 games in 1. You get to play the tutorial, and then you got to read this big book and actually how to play the game.
Yeah, 2 different games. Yeah, the tutorial is one way, and then the game is totally different.
Yeah.
Because the main reason I even started, I'm not a rule book person. I'm not one to delve into rule books at the table. That's annoying. Um, but I understand some people have got their things with rules and yada yada.
Well, it's how the game is meant to play.
Right. But I'm like, I'm trying to do sneak this time. John and I did not do sneak at all last time. So I need to know how to do this because there is,
And that
its
opened
own,
up the can of worms.
That's what started the diatribe onto, oh, we've really been fucking this up.
Yeah.
And like we were even doing the dungeon thing wrong.
Yeah.
Like that was
we were doing the rewards wrong.
and that's what I'm saying. So I think it was, in some ways it was harder because we were doing it all as one big encounter.
Yeah.
But if you do it that way, it's actually easier because you do have the opportunity to heal in between and get your stamina and magicka back.
Except for that last encounter where it was like defeat all these at once, we totally failed.
Yeah. We failed the entire... There was not a story point, besides like your first one, that we succeeded.
Yeah.
But we also didn't grind. I think we just kind of forgot that you have to go do side quests.
Yeah, because...
to grind up some loot. You can't just rail through the story on that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good game.
So we still have 2 chapters. We're going to do more grinding before we do chapter 2 of Dawnguard. But it seems like it is playing out the same as that stuff does in the video game. I've not finished the Dawnguard yet because my internet finally came back on, so I've been going back to playing Battlefront 2. But from what I played of the Dawnguard storyline, it seems like it's following that arc. Now, much like the Skyrim the Adventure game main story, that first chapter seemed like the prequel.
Yes.
And I think next chapter will be more of the actual Dawnguard stuff that was from the video game. Or it might even follow the same kind of track or arc that the main game did. Because there was a Dawnguard after the Vigilance of Stendarr. And they were like kind of branch factions. And then there was the Dawnguard in the fourth era of Tamriel, which is the time that you're playing Skyrim, the video game.
It's a good game. I highly recommend it.
It is fun. It just, you got to get past the rule book, and it's rough, and everything is not clearly explained. It's made by Modifius Entertainment, and they used to make Vampire the Masquerade, and those rule books are the worst rule books I've ever read before, ever. And I've seen reviews like, oh, the V5 rulebook is so good for Vampire the Masquerade. And I'm like, it's the worst pile of dog shit ever. It's not that, like, the rules are bad. I love the game. But just the way the information is laid out is horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's absolutely horrible. And these rulebooks are unfortunately the same.
Yeah.
Like, everything is different. Like, this page will be like, we'll refer over here. And then this one's like, we'll refer over here. Once you go to the reference that the other thing told you to go to.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous. And, it's just bing-bonging around for no reason. All right. We're getting towards the end of the show here. But Battlefront 2, oh my god, it's so good. I love that game.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway, on to the movies and television shows this week. So we kind of skipped the podcast last week. First, the Dad Batch finale.
Yeah. Dad Batch.
So, John and I sort of half called it when we were doing our predictions a couple weeks ago. We're like, oh no, the Empire's got Omega. Oh no, we got to go save Omega. It worked a little differently.
Yeah.
It was more like, okay, we're going to go get Crosshair, which was a twist I was not expecting. Like, oh, they're going to go get Crosshair. That's kind of cool.
I figured that's what's going to lead to the Imperial heat. To bringing knowledge back to...
Well, but we 100% called the fact that Sid just fucking turned them in.
Yeah, they should have shot Sid in the face.
At least 8 times throughout this entire season. Sid should have been dead.
Yeah.
If Hunter, like, really wanted to be a good paternal figure, he should have protected his family.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Like...
Tech died.
And yes, Tech died. Now... I think he's dead.
I think he's dead.
Tech's just dead.
It's sad because he's the one that got character development.
And maybe that was the clue. They was the only one the show gave a shit about this season was Tech because he got
that one chick liked him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, get back and we can,
Yeah.
make some bantha babies. I don't know.
Bantha babies.
And
But yeah, so Tech had like a love interest there at the end.
yeah,
He got to do the riot racing, like they just a whole lot of Tech stuff through the season. They expanded upon his and Omega's relationship as just like, hey, I know I'm not so good at the emotions thing. That's because I'm very analytical. And he's like, but here's how it is.
yep.
And then she's like, okay.
And now he's dead.
And now he's dead. He's dead. And the Empire has Omega, and the rest of the Bad Batch is, I guess, I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're going to do.
Go find Omega.
They're going to go find Omega.
Go find Omega. So, I mean, it was good.
And it was interesting because for a little bit, Echo left to go be with Rex. But if you watch Rebels, Echo's not there. So does he end up staying with the Bad Batch now again? Probably. Yeah.
Maybe.
Because now they lost their Tech, and he can actually just be Tech now.
Yeah.
Because that's what was weird before. Was
Like
Echo
two techs.
and Tech are basically the same. They have the same skill set. Like there's not
Tech
enough.
was a little bit better.
Tech was better than Echo at it. That's what was weird. Like just Echo didn't. He didn't really seem like he fit. I know he was like that was the whole thing at the Clone Wars season 8. Like I don't fit with the regular clones anymore, so I'm gonna glow with Clone Force 99 because they're different.
Yeah.
So, and now I'm different, so this makes sense. But his actual skill set is basically Tech's.
Yeah.
So, they still have a Tech guy. But
Yeah.
they're down a Crosshair, so they're going to regain Crosshair.
Yeah.
And the big kind of twist was that the one nurse doctor lady was Omega's sister. And what does that mean exactly? I'm going to guess that she's half of Omega's donor. I think she's like half Jango Fett, half that lady.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Or she's also a clone, and she was just the first one.
She could be. Like not, but she's not full genetic Jango Fett.
Right. Yeah. So I just think that is also maybe a thing. Or maybe Omega. See, I don't know because the clones refer to her as like a sister, so I think she has to be a Jango Fett clone.
Yeah, like she was supposed to be. They already mentioned it. Like she's the pure genetic material, like clone of Jango Fett.
Kind of like how Boba was.
Yeah.
But just a
why not try to go hunt him down?
Yeah. Why aren't they going after Boba Fett? Like, well, no. The reason is because he, A, already works with the Empire, probably at that point. But B, he's not Force sensitive. And that's why I think the big deal is with Omega, because they're setting up all the Force sensitive cloning research to make somehow Palpatine return. Makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
And it leads into all the experiments with Grogu that's going on in The Mandalorian, and that's a good segue to Mandalorian 5 and 6.
Yes.
I liked Chapter 5 a lot. It was very good. That one was where they went to basically go rescue Grief Karga.
On Navarro,
and they had a big showdown with Pirate King Gorian Shard, one of my new favorite Star Wars glup shittos. Because, man, his ship was cool, his character design was cool.
Now he's dead.
And now he's dead. It was real cool for all of 10 minutes. Like... But yeah, he was just sweet. I knew we'd see him again because he's like, "Oh, I'll get you, Mandalorian!" After episode 1, and I'm like, "Well, that's not the last time we're going to see that guy. He looks way too cool."
Yeah.
And so we got a little bit more, which was neat.
Yeah, it was a very good episode.
And now they have their little territory on Navarro, and they can they can start rebuilding the Mandalorian culture properly, and not beyond some murder monster world. Although Navarro has those too.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember Grief Karga almost got by a pterodactyl in like season 1?
Yeah, that's true.
So Navarro's got the same problem that apparently so do we on ISS.
But they don't have to hide.
They don't have to hide as much.
But
because they settled in like a safer area. It seems like that seemed like the pterodactyl was out in the lava flats.
But now they're gonna they got land granted all this stuff now, but yet they're gonna try to move back to Mandalore.
That's another thing that's kind of weird, but maybe a much bigger thing, and that kind of gets us into episode 6. So episode 6 maybe feels the most fillery of all the episodes. which there's always at least one
Yeah.
in a season of Mandalorian where you're like, this is probably the weakest entry. To me, that's this one, and I really didn't like the ending, which was not fillery. We'll get into that. But first, we have a lot of, like, just kind of crazy celebrities in this episode. Christopher Lloyd,
Jack Black,
and Lizzo, of all people, and which was weird.
yeah.
And Jack Black and Lizzo are married, and they ruled this, like, utopia democracy thing.
Nobody has to work. Everybody relies on droids, and the droids are malfunctioning.
Yes. Yeah. Separatist Clone Wars era B1 and B2 battle droids,
which was
baby.
really cool to see.
Just like, boom! Durasteel to the face. And it was like, so yeah, right? And it was the detective-y stuff. That was cool. Because for a while, George Lucas had planned on doing a TV show about the Coruscant underworld, and it was going to be like a detective-style stormtrooper show.
Yep.
So I got a little bit of that vibes from Bo and Din just kind of going around investigating, and it was neat. But then, boy, they find out Christopher Lloyd's the one who's making the droids crazy because he's a separatist, and he's loyal to the cause still all these years later. And he about said Count Dooku, he was cut down in his prime and then they shocked him so he couldn't say Anakin Skywalker, but man, he got right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that was cool. So that was neat to see Christopher Lloyd and then like Jack Black, Lizzo. It was very cool. Then the end, though, is the important part because the whole reason they're on this planet, that's where the Mandalorians are at.
Is to get her crew back, her people back.
Yes.
Because they lost faith in her.
Because she no longer had the Darksaber.
No longer had Darksaber. Lost it again. And then basically Din Djarin had it.
And now this guy, Dick Wolfhead, or whatever.
Ex-Wolf.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Dick. We'll call him Dick.
Yeah, he's just douchey Mandalorian number 7. And and he's like, no, you're not going to lead us. He has the Darksaber. And then she's like, well, challenge me, or I'm going to challenge you then. Ah! And he's like, you need to challenge him. He's got the Darksaber. And I was like, ooh, that's cold. And then they fight, and Bo-Katan beats his ass and almost kills him a couple times.
And she's just like, enough Mandalorian blood has been spilled by our own hands. It's time to unite.
And then Din, he gets up and he's like, is this not hers? And then like hands her the fucking Darksaber. I was defeated in combat. She defeated the enemy that defeated me. Is the Darksaber not hers? And I was like, fuck this TV show.
What a bitch ass loophole.
I was
like,
got
knocked out on the head and lost the Darksaber. It wasn't like combat. Like
it was so awful. Just terrible. I'm like, no. They've not been building this up. Just
yeah.
But we knew. I mean, it was very apparent when he got the Darksaber that Bo-Katan is like, fuck, this is not good. I was supposed to be the one to end up with it. They could have done it better. They could have at least just fought.
Yeah.
You know? They don't have to... Clearly she didn't want to kill the guy. You don't have to kill the person who you take the Darksaber from.
Nope.
So why didn't she just fight Din Djarin for it, actually?
Yeah.
I would be less mad about it then.
Din Djarin just didn't want it. He didn't care. Like, he does not give a shit.
He just wants to keep his head down, raise Grogu, and that's kind of it.
That's what he wants. Yeah, he is.
That's what he wants.
He is along for the ride. He's like, I got this fucking lightsaber. Don't care.
And
I can't use it.
I can't say it's super unexpected. All they've been doing this season is kind of working on that Bo-Katan arc, building her up so she can once again lead the Mandalorians.
I think it's awesome.
I'm not unhappy with it. Just this particular episode, all of it rubbed me the wrong way. I was hoping maybe they would just move past the Darksaber being the leader thing.
Yeah, but they're not.
But yeah, nope, they're Mandalorians. The old traditions die hard.
Which is weird because the culvert, like the armor, could give two shits about that Darksaber.
Well, because she's clearly the one pulling the strings.
Yeah.
At the covert. It doesn't matter that Din Djarin has the Darksaber. And it doesn't matter that Bo-Katan is coming in and like leading war parties. they all answer to her because she's basically like a priest.
Yeah.
Like, essentially. And it's like a,
Yeah.
why can't I remember? Not aristocracy.
I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not aristocracy. That's aristocrats, rich folks ruling. Theocracy, where the religion is kind of the government, and that's what the Mandalorian society and the Watch is.
But yeah, I mean, still, I mean, yes, the ending was kind of forced and kind of like had to happen. So like, this is the stupidest way we can do it.
This is the way.
Excuse me.
Oh, also cool to see Ugnaughts, and apparently all these Ugnaughts know Queel.
They all know each other.
That was a little weird, but he's like, "I have spoken."
Yeah,
and I was like,
cool.
"Yes, they brought it back. Cool."
No, I thought the greatest part was we got to see a live action B2.
Yeah, again, and it was cool. It was well done. It looked great.
The droid, the B1 live action.
They didn't do the thing that you thought they were going to do. We don't serve your kind.
Oh,
here.
I know.
They
missed the opportunity.
There was a second, I think, where they thought about it because all the droids stopped when the two humans walk into the bar.
Yeah, like, missed opportunity.
We don't serve your kind here.
But yeah, other than that, I was.
So I just, it was disappointing.
We got 2 more episodes.
2 more episodes. And, again, I'm okay with
I think they had to really, like speedy force getting the Darksaber to her because the next 2 episodes I think are going to be pretty bonkers.
Oh, I'm guessing.
So it was kind of like, I know this kind of sucks how we did it, but it was like, somehow we had to have, she has to be possession of it.
Yeah, and because she's going to have a showdown with Moff Gideon and hopefully cut his head off with the Darksaber.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen.
And the Thrawn's going to come and pick it up and be like, should have studied the art of the Mandalorian people.
That'll be so sick. Because we're right there on the Thrawn, because we got the Zeb.
Yeah.
One interesting thing I saw was somebody, like, because you know how they had the old Rangers of the New Republic, like, show title card mock-up when they did their, like, basically Marvel phase thing, but for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Somebody did that, but Ranger of the New Republic, Gary Zeb. And I'm like, oh, that would actually be pretty sick.
That would be pretty cool.
If instead of Cara Dune they did Zeb, come on.
Yeah.
You can't tell me you wouldn't love that.
I would have loved Cara Dune still.
Absolutely, but we're never going to see her again.
Nope.
They wrote her out this season. They're like, here's what happened. She fucked off. Bye.
What else? Is that it?
John Wick 4.
Oh, John Wick 4. Very good.
Yes. Pivoting from the Star Wars for a little bit. And away from general nerdiness and just onto good movie.
I thought it was a solid movie.
So, I guess, like, the big complaints with the John Wick films are it's just dumb action. But that's also the best part about the John Wick films is it's just dumb action.
Yeah.
The entire time. Like, it's
goes... well done dumb action.
In some cases.
Like,
there's some sequences that are, like, they're not shot the best. They suffer from the, like,
no, but I'm talking about the choreography of it. Like,
right.
Yeah, you're talking about the filmography, but I'm talking about they spend a lot of time in...
They do. They make it accurate to what actual combat is
like. I mean, he has to constantly reload. It's not like a gun that's infinite amount of bullets.
Right.
He's...
And you see him all the time, like, oh, I gotta yank this dude's corpse
gotta
over
take
here.
This guy's gun, take his mag, gotta do... Yeah. Like, yeah, gotta re-up, reload.
Yeah, gotta reload. I thought the stairway scene was the best, or second best.
The over the
that
top
is
scene
that is the best.
Where he has the shotgun with the
it's
dragon
like
fire.
It's like a video game. It is a third-person shooter, like top-down camera view. The camera just like slides up,
and it just looks.
And then he's walking through this like house in Paris, and just blasting fools with dragon fire rounds and a shotgun.
Yep.
And you get to see where all the guys are coming out, and then like shooting them through the walls, and he's like rolling on the ground.
Yeah, it was good.
Rolling that was sick. That is definitely the best sequence in that movie. Second best is the staircase because they made him run up the stairs 3 times.
Yeah, they did.
Well, it's because like what in the first or second one was that the staircase? I think the second one was the staircase.
I don't know.
Or maybe the third. One of the other films has a big staircase sequence because they all run together because it's like just one right after the other, which is another thing I really like about those. Movies don't usually do that. where it is like this one is picking up minutes after that one left off.
Yeah.
Or a day maybe at most. And so he had to do the stairs like 3 times, and that was funny. And then Donnie Yen used the pencil.
Yeah, he did. He did really good, blind guy.
Oh yeah, Donnie Yen in this movie is cool as hell. And just they fight at the end, and I noticed it, and like that's one of those things you had to catch it. So they do this like duel with old school flintlock dueling pistols, and they get like they miss or they both hit each other every time, right?
Yeah,
but just not lethal shots. They get hit in like the arm, the shoulder, and then the last shot, Donnie Yen, he gets John Wick, and then the evil dickhead Rami Malek is like, yeah, give me the coup de grace because I am the champion, or you are my champion, or whatever. Because trial by combat, and he's and like, I got a champion because I don't want to fight my own battles.
The manager is all like, you arrogant fool, he didn't shoot,
and then John Wick, kablam!
Right in the fucking head,
and then everybody's happy,
and John Wick dies.
So he's happy. That's what I said. Yeah. Everybody's happy.
I mean, because the whole theme through the movie was like,
he's like,
what are you gonna like?
And that's what they've been asking him. Like through the last film, that was a big theme, and then this one too.
When's it gonna end? How's it gonna end? When's it gonna end? And they're like, you'll only find peace in death. And
he's like, and he's sitting like outside of this church overlooking the city of Paris. He thinks to his wife, he's like, heaven.
Yep.
Like that, I already had my slice. And now he's going to go wherever the Baba Yaga goes after death.
Yep. The Matrix. He's going to wake... That's the scene from Matrix. He wakes up.
That would be pretty sick. That was the John Wick movies were his training for the Matrix.
Yeah.
That would make some sense. There we go.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves.
I thought it was a good movie.
I enjoyed it.
And I don't know a lot about D&D. Like, I've played it a few times. But you don't need to know references. You don't need to know anything going into this movie.
That's going to be the big thing. If you're on the fence, maybe you've played Dungeons & Dragons. Maybe you've not. If you're listening to this, I'm guessing you have. Or at the very least, you've heard us talk about it. And you're like, maybe I would like to see some of this. This is a really good example of a campaign. A very short campaign.
Yeah.
I wouldn't quite call it a one-shot. But yeah, no, just a real good open and shut campaign. Not crazy into the world stakes, which was something I appreciated. Just end of Neverwinter, if they failed. Which, spoiler alert, they don't. They're heroes. Come on now.
Skybeam.
There was a Skybeam kind of. Sky roots, tentacles, whatever.
But it was a good movie. Chris Pine was very Chris Pine in the movie. Witty, arrogant, sarcastic.
So yeah, if we want to delve into the nitty gritty, Chris Pine's character really doesn't do anything the whole movie.
He's not a bard.
Everybody's under the impression, he's the bard. He's funny. He's making the jokes. He's based on the things that he's doing in the trailer. He carries a lute with him and he sings. He's not a bard because he doesn't do no bardic magic.
Yeah.
I think he's a rogue. With like tavern brawler is a feat, so he used
because he has a backstory of where he was like a
rogue.
Oh yeah,
he was a rogue for the Harpers, which is really interesting. So like a good alignment rogue for the Harpers Guild. Very weird in actual like D&D lore. I think to me that's really weird. Just knowing what I know about that. But yeah, and then evil dickbags kill him. They take their liberties a little bit with some things. So if you're super like into Dungeons and Dragons, like rules is written, just turn that part of your brain off when you're watching this movie. Because it ain't about that. It's about seeing some stuff from Dungeons and Dragons in a pretty decent story.
Yep.
It is like, I think for a movie, just like I'm going to go see a movie, it's like a 6 out of 10. I'm going to go see a movie on a franchise that I enjoy, like an 8 out of 10 or a 7.5 out of 10. Like, because it gets those extra points for me because I enjoy Dungeons and Dragons and there's this thing.
Yeah, it's neat to see it in
And it is great to see it depicted, because that's the thing with Dungeons and Dragons. We play Magic, and we get to see the artwork on the cards. And like, yeah, to an extent with D&D, you can see the artwork depicted in your books, but you never really get the full sense. Like, role playing games is always, or classically, theater of the mind. You never see, it's all in your head, and this is finally your thoughts displayed, which was great.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
They had a big These Magic hand fight at the end, and I thought that was funny.
The movie was good, but the kids throwing popcorn at me was not cool. Yeah, that happened.
Don't throw popcorn at people in movie theaters. Who would have thought?
I ripped them a new asshole. They're like 11 years old.
I got to watch John Karen out in the movie theater.
Well, I was pissed.
That's where we're gonna leave it tonight. We're wrapping up. We're done.
Please like, comment, and do all the things that you can do on a podcast. If you want to check us out on our YouTube and other things, just go search Let's Open It on YouTube, TikTok. This is the real Let's Open It. Facebook, Let's Open It. And if you want to support us on Patreon, just go over Let's Open It. It's $1 a month, and it'll help us out immensely. Thank you so much for listening.
And as always, bye-bye.
Bye, YouTube.
Yes, thanks for stopping with us. Sorry we don't really respond to the comments, but that's kind of the thing.